How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis. We've got a new update from the Old School RuneScape team. This is the Max Cape. So, the Max Cape has finally come to Old School RuneScape. Something people have been talking about for a very long time, especially when we started to get max players. It got a bit more serious when we started to get over 100 max players, and then they polled it, and now it's in-game. Old School RuneScape has thousands of players, and there's only about 150 people that have actually managed to get the skills to get the Max Cape. So clearly, they've accomplished a lot, and they're going to get this amazing cape, and I'll actually show you the emote for that. So this is the Max Cape emote. It looks quite interesting. I was not really sure what to expect, because they said they were going to be making a custom Old School RuneScape emote. I quite like it. It sort of brings you up, shows off your skills, and it shows that you are a max player. I really like the fact that it's got all of the skills floating above your head, although I'm sort of questioning some of the colours of that, like we've got a red skull on the Slayer icon. Obviously the emote is very different to the RuneScape 3 Max Cape, where you sort of mined away a large rock, created a creature, and then fought it. Personally, I think that was a bit of an overdone emote, however it looked quite cool. I think this Old School RuneScape emote does the job, and I'm quite happy with it. It's nothing too flashy, but it's flashy enough, because if you've got that Max Cape, then you need to show off. So if you are one of the amazing players that have managed to max out Old School RuneScape, grab yourself a pickaxe and an axe and head out to the back of the Warriors Guild. Just beyond the ladder that leads to the Cyclopses, you'll find a small opening where you'll have to chop down a tree, mine down some rocks, push through a boulder, and then make a raft which you can ride on to reach Mac, who is the NPC that will sell you the Max Cape for 2,277,000 coins. The cape has the stats of a trimmed skill cape, and it's got that unique Max Cape shape that we're used to in RuneScape 3 and now Old School RuneScape. If you're not maxed yourself and you see a player wandering around with a Max Cape, then enjoy that while you last. Take a screenshot or something. You're not going to be seeing them often because there's not many players that are maxed. Let's move on to the Geomancy spell. So we've got a new lunar spell, Geomancy. It requires 65 magic, 3 astral runes, 3 nature runes, and 8 earth runes to cast. When you cast Geomancy, an interface will pop up that allows you to see the status of all the farming patches in Old School RuneScape, with the exclusion of those ones you use during quests. You'll be able to see loads of information about each of your farming patches, such as what crops in it, the progress of the growth, the patch protection status, the patch compost status, patch water status, and the fruit yield. However, strangely enough, they decided to place Geomancy at the bottom of the spellbook rather than in their normal level order in order to preserve the position of the Vengeance spell. They'll be polling the option for customizing the spellbook soon, so hopefully for players that want to have Vengeance in that normal area, they can get that. But for now, we're just going to have the Geomancy spell in a really stupid position. Moving on to the Impling Tracker. If you're fond of impetuous impulses, then you'll be pleased to hear that you can track your Impling catches using the option found on the butterfly net. The Impling Tracker will show you both the number of Implings you've caught inside of Puro Puro and outside on the surface world. And finally, in other news, we've got some other changes and quality of life updates. Zulrah's attack sequences have now a little more variety, since they were way too predictable. And now it drops fewer teleport scrolls, since they were coming into the game faster than they could be used. The Abyssal Sire's drop table has been improved, and the emote list has now been rearranged so the Drow Demon emotes are no longer at the bottom of the list. Hopefully that means they're all in one neat line. And finally, bug fixes. It's no longer possible to spawn multiple Yuris. The Canifis pub now has a minimap icon. They've added blocking to various rocks and stalagmites found within the Calphite lair. They've removed the teleport option from the Kandaren headgear 1 and 2 as it served no purpose. They've added some dialogue to Captain Bleemaged. The Flax Keeper has been given more appropriate dialogue for when you attempt to claim your daily free flax before completing the Kandaren diary. They've resolved the graphical issue within the Asgardian Ice Dungeon. The Rogue's Den wall safes have been added to the Thieving skill guide. The examine text for Smoke Battle Staffs has been updated. They've repaired some grammar in the Hunter Master's dialogue. They fixed the spacing in the examine information of an undead chicken. They've added the apostrophe to Seer's Village in the Elemental Workshop quest journal. They've removed several occurrences of full stops following a question mark in dialogue. And exhausted is now spelled correctly when attempting to use the Explorer's Ring. So a nice small quality of life update this week. Obviously the Max Cape is something a bit bigger, although only a few players will be able to get it. I find it interesting that they've made some changes to Zulrah and the Abyssal Sire. I think most notable is actually the changes to Zulrah, because people are getting used to Zulrah, and people have been complaining about it for a while now. However, they just said they were going to look at the data and come back to us when they have. I suppose they've probably had a bit of a look at it, realised it's a bit too predictable, and they want to make sure it drops less teleports in game because they're coming in too fast. Really just balancing issues for their original design. However, I find it interesting when they do just change something like that. If you want to discuss this update, please go on the forums or in my comments below. If you want to watch the latest Old School RuneScape news post, please click here for Deadman Mode news. And if you want to watch the latest Old School RuneScape update, please click here for the Smoke Battle Staff buff. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, devlogs and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.